So anyways, she is in her dirty little room slash I don't know what it is. It looks like a motel, you guys, but it must be some kind of housing situation in Florida that I've just never seen anywhere else. Because I know it doesn't have a kitchen. It feels like it's just a room and a bathroom. And it feels like a motel to me, but like, you know, whatever. It's not clean. May is jumping on the bed with some dirty feet. You know what I'm saying? Like, she is waiting to hear back from Azan. So why she's waiting to hear back from Azan is the scene before. We see that Nicole has a friend. Who knew? Nicole has a friend named Jessica. And it's her best friend, apparently, that we've never heard of this entire time. That best friend wanted to have drinks with her real quick. So they had drinks, and, you know, Nicole brought her up to speed, and she was like, well, I didn't meet Azan, but from what I've seen on television or what you've explained to me, it seems like he's not as much into you as you into him, and it feels like he might be using you for the green card. And Nicole is like, no, that's not what's happening. He loves me, and he loves May, and he wants to come here and wants to be a family. And I'm like, girl, where is you and Azan and May gonna stay? In that dirty ass room? I hope not, because Azan might get back on the plane and go back to Morocco. The friend is like, well, I haven't met Azan, so I really don't want to judge, but it seems like this. And Nicole is like, please don't judge. It's gonna be fine. Everything's gonna be fine and roses, and I'm so happy. And it's just kind of like, ugh. So the whole next day is like Nicole is in some kind of stupor. She's just waiting to get the information back because Azan has the interview for his visa. And she's waiting and she's waiting, and she like texts him and keeps on texting him, and it's been like 6 hours, and she's just laying on the bed, half asleep. May's jumping around. May's laying on her oddly. I don't know if they're watching TV. Again, they get in the car. May has no shoes on, dirty feet. They drive somewhere, then they drive back. And I mean, it's just like real, like, just so boring. I'm like, take that girl to a park, do something. Rob Ali comes over and says, you know, how are you feeling? What's going on? And she's like, oh, I'm just really nervous, and I want him to get his K1 visa so he can come here and live and be happily ever after, and, you know, he can get a job and blah, blah, blah. And Rob Ali, you know, again, is just putting out the cons of this whole entire situation. But at the same time, I think Rob Ali feels like, you know, this is her only daughter, as far as we know, and she wants to be there for her, kinda. Like, she just, like, I think she cares more about May and making sure that Nicole's making good decisions, but Nicole's not making good decisions, so I think she's just there to catch May if she falls. Every time May calls Azan daddy, it just breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. And Nicole is so adamant, like, oh, daddy, who's that? Daddy, can you say Morocco? But so finally, Azan calls, and he says that he just didn't have any cell service. He was in the building the whole 7 hours. The interview process was very long. There was a lot of people there, and he doesn't know, and he thinks it's gonna be fine. And she's just like, oh, okay, well, you couldn't call me? I mean, I feel like sometimes Nicole is so naive. Like, girl, he was in a government building. I 100% believe that he was in that building for 7 hours. Like, even if he wasn't in there for like 7 hours, I believe that he was definitely there for 5. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he just needed an hour to like think through what he was gonna say to her. Because I do think that Azan like fashions what he's gonna say to her and hopes that she'll buy it. And she most likely, and probably most of the time, does. I don't think he got it because, you know, he doesn't love Nicole. So there's that. But we'll see. All right, so the next couple we have is Molly and Luis. Girl, you know how I feel about Molly and Luis. I feel like Molly is a bad bee. Doesn't need to be dealing with Luis. But it is what it is. So it looks like they have been separated for a couple of months at this time. They're back together. Luis has moved back in from wherever he was staying with his brother in New Jersey. And he's like, you know, when do you have a man in the kitchen like me? And she's like, I've never been married, so I've never had this happen. And she's like tying an apron around his waist. And it looks like she's happy now. You know, she lets him know that they got a cat. You know, and I would have been like, Basically, Molly is saying is that the reason why Luis moved back in is because she's not a quitter. And she's not somebody who wants to say that she was in a marriage and it got hard and she just gave up. You know, she wants to be somebody who said that she put her all and she really, really tried. So Luis has moved back in. But one of her things is that Luis is going to have to learn to get along with her kids. Like, the fact is that she didn't understand that bringing a 26-year-old man from the Dominican Republic to the United States and expecting him to jump in as father figure, role model, helper of her because he couldn't work. Like, she thought he was going to just slip in and be Mr. Mom. And like, not Mr. Mom in any kind of derogatory way, but like, even if it were me, like there's this idea that women are more maternal and they have these instincts and they should have been able to like slip into that situation. But honestly, Luis comes from a completely different background. And from his point of view, Olivia and Kingsley is very, very wild. You know what I mean? Like, he feels like they are disrespectful and don't have any manners. And like, it's true. But that's the way Molly has raised them. She has a very like best friend relationship with her kids. I don't imagine that I think she's always just wanted her kids to like her. And like, she wants to be best friends with her, which is fine if that's her parenting style. But it makes it hard for someone else to step into those shoes, because don't nobody want to hear talk back from a 6-year-old. That's 150%. Nobody is trying to be on Kingsley's time card, okay? Like, we all want Kingsley to be on our time card. And I think that Luis is from a culture that doesn't do that with their kids. And so for him, the fact that Olivia can say no to him or like turn around and walk away or just say whatever she feels is like, he's waiting for Olivia and Kingsley to get a pow pow. You know what I'm saying? And Molly is like, hit my children. Why? They're just expressing themselves. Like, you know what I'm saying? Two different cultures. And she says that she honestly didn't think that it would be such a big deal for him to slip into those shoes, especially because, you know, she's paying for everything. And I'm just like, Molly, you didn't think it was going to be a big deal? I would never marry somebody who had an 18-year-old and a 6-year-old that lived with them. Like, ever. That is not a situation in which I would walk into unless they were honestly genuinely good kids. And like, most people's teenagers and 6-year-olds are not good kids, but they're going through their own shit. So like, it is what it is. She did spring him onto them. So I do see their point of view. And she's like, I need you to help me. And I'm like, Molly, you need to get a nanny is what you need to do. They're just gonna try. So Luis ends up having an awkward conversation with the girls. While Olivia and Kingsley are playing Barbie dolls in the living room, Luis like strolls on in and was like, hey girls, you know, can I talk to you for a minute or whatever? And then so he sits down to have a conversation with them. Molly comes into the room as well. And she's like stroking Olivia's hair as Olivia is telling Luis how he made them feel, how he just upped and left, and how Molly cried for days and days and days about it. And pause. Why is Molly crying in front of her girls? Like, okay. And then like, you know, how as an adult, you can't just leave when the times get tough and you have to be able to, you know, work through your issues with everything. And Luis is like, you know, you're the reason I left, right? Me and your mom would be happy if it wasn't for you and that one. He's like, okay, you know, And then Molly's like, yeah, you know, Luisa, we're a family. We're a family now, and you want to fit into this family, and I want you to fit in this family because I love you and the girls love you too. Meanwhile, Olivia's like, and so it's just kind of like this awkward conversation, and you know it's not gonna last. Her kids are not gonna change. Luis is not gonna change. It's not gonna last. It's not gonna last. That DR romance died in DR. You feel me? That's where it died. All right, so our next couple is Paul and Russ. What the F is wrong with Russ's hair? Like, why has he done this to us? I don't appreciate it. I don't like it. I don't understand why he would go back to this. Like, who is this person? This person does not belong with this person because this person is hot mama. This person is like some awkward teenager in a basement that doesn't know how to do anything. Like, can we get back to this guy? What is he doing? So anyways, where we left off is, I'm not sure where we actually left off, but they're living in Miami. Russ is not making nearly as much money as he used to, but now Powell is. She's getting all of this work. She was able to buy herself a car. She picks up her homegirl. They go, they drive around. They come back to Powell's place and they have a glass of wine and they're just talking about, like, Powell's talking about how free and open she feels in Miami because she's around her gentes. And like, I feel it. Like, why would anybody from Colombia move who wants to be a model? You know what I'm saying? Move to Oklahoma and just settle into Oklahoma life. Like, there's just nothing there for someone like Powell. Not to say there's nothing there in general. I mean, I'm sure that they could live like kings and queens based on his salary of what he used to make in Oklahoma and the cost of living in Oklahoma. But in Miami, it's a little bit harder. And I think he's like in a depression. I feel like this haircut tells me he's in a depression. Like, there's a depression happening. He's really sad. And like, it sucks that Powell's doing so well and he's not. And you can see it. And it's just so confusing to me how he would go to Colombia, find himself a hot Colombian woman who is open and up to his goober ways, casserole, boiled chicken, no seasoning ways. You know what I'm saying? And he can't even go, oh, she's gonna be that type of model. Like, if you're not a size -0, you're not a runway model. You're a booty model. And that is what Paola is. Which is fine. Like, let her make her money. If he would just let her make her money, then maybe they wouldn't have to live in that apartment. But I don't know. This could just be editing. I'm just really mad at his haircut, and I'm really mad at the fact that he does not let her be who she is. So we get bad news. Thea calls Paola and tells her that Abuela is sick. She has a brain cancer, and the brain cancer has gotten worse, and it's now time for Paola to come home and be with the fam. And, you know, it's really important for her. She's been away from her family now for 3 years, and so she's got to go back. And so, you know, Russ is really understanding, and they pack their bags to go back. I did notice, like, on her dry erase board, like when she's sitting down talking to her tia, that it looks like she wants to get, like, her certificate or something in nutrition. So Paola's not only working on a modeling career, she's working, I think, on probably nutrition or being some kind of fitness person, which I'm just like, thank you. Like, I love a woman. I love anybody who's like, you know what, let's diversify this portfolio. Let's try to make all the money we can and do what we can, you know? Her red hair in the regular part of it, I wasn't into, but that like copper look that was in the confessionals where she had the swoop, I was super into. So I just wish Paola the best, and we'll see her next episode. So next we have David and Annie. Batman. Okay, so where we left off is they're in the United States. Batman has that blow up with Nikki. At the tell-all, they have a conversation with Chris, and Chris says that he's cutting off them. He's cutting them off. And he does. He sends them a letter with a lease. And Annie's really confused because she's like, lease? What's a lease? She doesn't understand the fact that they're not able to stay in that firehouse for free. Chris is going to start asking them for $1,000 a month. Now, $1,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money, but I want to know how drafty that space is. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it a huge space? It must be a huge space, but they don't have any money to actually put any furniture in, so I guess that doesn't matter anyway. Girl, I don't know. Somebody was making a comment about the fact that the $1,000 rent is a lot in Kentucky, and I'm just like, maybe I should move to Kentucky because $1,000 seems like real good, like a real good pricing for me. So anyways, they have to pawn some jewelry because David still hasn't found any money, but I could have sworn that Chris was like, you can manage my restaurant. Why didn't he manage the restaurant? I heard that he was doing Uber, but you know, again, they go to the pawn shop to pawn this $7,000 worth of jewelry that he purchased for her engagement, and he's like, you know, taking off her jewelry, weighing it, and then he, like, I think he ends up pawning her bracelet. He lets her keep the necklace, and he gets like $200 or something real small for just the bracelet. And I'm just like, he's walking around with a gold watch and a gold chain. I'm like, why don't you sell these two? You don't need to tell time. You got a cell phone, sell that watch. Like, come on, David. Make better decisions. I feel like this series is set up to make David look like so stupid. And he's just into it. I wonder how much money they're getting paid. Well, you know that the person that's from another country doesn't actually get paid until they get their green card. So I don't think Annie has gotten her green card yet. But she says that she can't wait to work so that she can live in the house of her dreams. And that being in the US is a lot harder than she thought it was going to be. And, you know, to David's credit, he did try to warn her that he wasn't rich and he had a lot of debt and there was a lot of things that we're going to have to, like, go without for a while. And she just, I guess, thought he was being cheap. And in the beginning, remember when they were in that boat in Thailand and she was like, if you don't have the money, you just say bye. And I'm just like, yeah, she needed to say bye then. And she had the right instincts. But I think maybe the opportunity to marry a foreigner is kind of rare, where it's a goal, you know, but it's still kind of rare. And so here's her opportunity to be in the United States and send money back to her family. And so she's just going to do it. And I can't blame her for it. You know what I'm saying? She got people she needed to take care of. And you know how I feel about people who got peoples. I'm like, let them take care of their peoples. All right, you guys, so that is the end of this episode. Let me know what you guys think. I'm so excited for this journey we're about to embark on. It's back. 90 Day Fiancé's back. I'm gonna try to go live on Sundays, but I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do it. My last live session was cool, and I hope more of you guys will come. We had a good time. We had a nice little kiki. I accidentally left it up too long because I showed the episode, which I shouldn't do. But like, what am I gonna do when the show is on? Am I just gonna be like, watching it and you guys are just looking at me watch it, like I might as well turn around and show you guys what's going on, right? Right. Let me know what you thought of this episode down below. And remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye!